Thank you very much, Ashik. Thank you for inviting me over here.
Okay, so please, first of all, the audience wants to know that what you are going to discuss today about this topic, post-corona world. So it seems like a very interesting topic that it shows that in because of this after corona, what will changes we will face in this world. So is it like that, or you are going to share something else?
Yes, of course, that is the major part of today's talk. But I want to divide this topic into two portions. That what is the scenario nowadays, what is happening nowadays, and based on this, what would happen when this whole scenario of coronavirus is over. So these are the two parts that we will be focusing. Keeping in view that what kind of scenarios are developing all around the world, we can better predict that what would be the educational scenario in the post corona world, and what would be the political, financial, and economical views of the world after corona. So we will have to discuss the present scenario, that what is happening all around.
Okay, so that's really good. Yes, I can hear you. Is my voice audible to you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
yes.
So
But
from
you're
where
not
you
on
want
my
to start?
screen. Yeah. Yes, I
Okay,
want to
so but
start from some facts. I want to start from.
yes, please go on.
Yes, Ashik, may I? Yeah. So I want to start from where it all started. Wuhan. Yesterday, a news came from Wuhan that it's all over there. And the lockdown has been lifted and things are getting normal. Now, after 76 days, the lockdown a
Okay.
little bit kind of a good news. It's not all been lifted, but people are not free to move. So from this we can understand once the lockdowns are lifted all around the world, things are not going to be normal. So let me say clearly,
Okay. So you mean to say that everything will
when
change?
this whole corona scenario won't be as it was.
Okay. Hello.
Feel that once it is over, you are going to go back to your all working stations, and it's normal, or it's not going to happen. The world is going to be changed massively.
Okay. So what kind of changes we will have to face?
Be bearing the burden of the deficit that we are incurring nowadays. For example, world has come to a halt. It has come to a stop. Every day you are listening, things are getting worse, financially, economically, educationally. For example, educationally, students are also staying at homes. Their studies are not moving forward. So once they are coming out and joining whenever, after 6 months, even after 1 year, after 2 months, I'm not sure about that. But whenever they are going to get back to their colleges, schools, universities, they are going to bear the burden of whatever they have missed all through these previous months. So this deficit going to be burdenized almost for upcoming 2 years over the universities, colleges, and schools. So it's not going to end over here. So worst case scenario is financial and economical. The world is going to face the financial and economic crisis, and once we are going to have the economic crisis, everything is going to be jam packed. Everything is going to come to a stop, and everything will look in a worst case scenario. For example, we will have high unemployment ratio. There won't be any kind of manufacturing, exports, and imports of the world. All is going to be worst.
Okay, so Mr. Gul, the audience want to know that what do you recommend? Like if education is going to be worse and students will get the burden of education, you are saying like for 2 years might be possible they will get the burden for 2 years. So what should they do?
Yes, what should they do? They need to adopt themselves with the modern technology. But on the modern technology, I have other reservations. It is going to further divide the societies into the classes, because there are the people who can have the access to technology, internet. But what about those students who do not have the access to the technology, the internet? So once who have that technology, access to technology, access to internet, they can move forward. They can what we call bridge the gap, which has been developed during this coronavirus scenario. But what about those who are not going to have the access to that facility? So one thing is that the solution is of course the technology, of course the online education, but the biggest chunk in that is going to miss. That is the students who do not have the access to all that facility.
So it means that internet and these technological gadgets are as much as important as like food for us today.
Yes, of course. They are going to be more important because, as I said, things are not going to go normal. Once we are going to go back to schools and colleges, things would be not same as they were before the coronavirus happening.
One thing more which I want to ask you is that China, they are doing great job while taking their online classes. Fine, and we have got examples of other countries they are giving online classes to their students. But in Pakistan, we are unable to conduct our online classes, and because we never give our the computer literacy to our students of these online classes. So is it the fault of educational, government, or we can say educational institutions in Pakistan?
Oh, yes, exactly. All the factors are involved in this kind of a scenario that we are having nowadays. But this is the one of the factor. But thing is that all the students, because you know very well, majority of our population lives in the rural areas where there is no access of internet, or they do not have the technological tools and gadgets. So it is the biggest issue for the students who are residing in the rural areas.
Okay, fine. So how to deal with them? Hello.
Yes, how to deal with that? That is the burden that we are going to have after the coronavirus, because those students are going to further demotivated. They are going to be on the back seat.
Yeah, exactly. And you know very well that our future is of artificial intelligence, and this is
Exactly.
not possible without this technological gadgets awareness.
Exactly. Awareness is one of the issues. Second is accessibility. Third is affordability. All these three factors are there because we are not the what we call ideal country where everything was in a suitable condition. We did not have a suitable infrastructure, whether it is education, health, whatever department you are going to knock, you will find there are certain lapses, there are flaws. We were never ideal for this kind of a what we call epidemic or pandemic.
Okay, fine. So you mean to say that we will have a lot of educational crisis in our country?
Yes, educational crisis, economical, and even political. If such kind of lockdowns are going to continue, Pakistan, wherever, especially developing countries, you can witness civil wars. You are going to witness anarchy, vandalism, theft would be there because hunger would be there. Unemployment is once there is unemployment, there will be hunger. Once there is hunger, people are not going to sit in the houses getting locked down. They are going to go out. They are going to steal something. They are going to rob the people. Certain kind of worst case scenarios can develop.
Okay, so what do you think? Is Corona a biological war?
It's not a biological war. Had it been a biological war, it could have been cured up till now. But you see, the conspiracy theories that have been coined up till now are totally failure, because once America called it is a Chinese virus that has been created over there, Chinese are blaming over America. So these conspiracy theories have been totally failure. Now it's a real threat to the world. People have realized that it's a real threat. Even countries like Italy, France has the world's best healthcare system. On the second, Italy has the world's best healthcare system. But what about those countries? They have surrendered before the corona. So you see, now America is the epicenter of corona. So countries like America, France, Italy, and even Spain, they have surrendered before the corona. We cannot expect things getting positive all the way. So I don't think this is a biological, but this has been naturally being created, and this has spread. Now theories are many that how this has been created. Has it been created like other viruses like MERS and SARS? Like it comes from the bats, but there are theories that this has been developed from
Okay,
pangolin and bat as well. So it's a combination of these two viruses that has been processed into any human's host as a host where it has been processed.
okay, fine. So one thing I want to ask you that you have, you had visited China as well.
Yeah,
So, okay, so how was
exactly.
your
I have visited
experience?
in. Yes, experience was fine. They are great people, very well organized. They believe in the development. They believe in working. They are very professional people. They know how to deal all kinds of situations. So they have the what we call the professional skills to deal with any kind of a scenario. Right now, you can see that there are success stories coming from China, and the world is applying that model, that how we can mitigate the effects of corona by having effective lockdowns, by having a controlled system. So China has that ability to cope with certain kind of a situation.
Okay, so how do you think? What do you think that is Corona virus? Does it affect on China's economy and educational?
Of course, it has largely impacted, China. The things would come out. Though the Chinese is a closed society, they are not what we call having such kind of a liberty, as the freedom of expression is not there. But having said that, things are not good. The way China was having a progress, the CPEC was there. There was one road, one belt kind of projects were there. All these things were there. Now these things have been rolled back. China, you can say that 1 or 2 decades, at least 20 years, they have been on the back foot. Such kind of a scenario has developed. Nobody is ready to travel to China, and within China there are restrictions. So China is in a kind of a situation where they have to struggle a lot.
Okay, but as you know that Corona has spread all over the world. So, but we have to go to we have to travel in future like to other countries as well. And China has cured its virus. They have fight. They have completely fought with the coronavirus. So I think that it will not be an issue for China to develop itself or not.
Of course, it can develop, but it will take time again, because there is an impression about Chinese right now in the world that they are having viruses. The impression out there, because whole world has been affected by this virus, which has been, of course, developed, or you can say that which has started in China. So China's image is at its stake. There's a question mark on the China, that how they are behaving with such kind of healthcare issues, because the world has become at the risk. It started in China, and how it is spread to the world, of course, through traveling. People traveled all over the world from China, and they took it lightly. Now this epidemic or that pandemic has spread all over the world. So you cannot say that China has totally controlled it. By locking down the people is not the solution. People one day they would come out. Once they are going to come out, there are major chances that this what we call ghost can awaken again, and people can get infected again. So there are chances. Until and unless a vaccine is not developed, or the immune system of the entire population is not strong enough to deal with certain kind of a virus. So there are worst case scenarios over there up till now.
Okay, fine. So that's really good. But it's not a good thing. It's very bad that we will have to face a lot of crisis in future.
Yes, you are right. Because throughout my talk, I have been very much pessimist. The reason why I am pessimist, the people are not realizing the gravity of the situation. Because this cannot be cured with vaccine only. This cannot be cured with testing only. The way Norway is doing or Germany is doing through effective testing, it can be cured only and only when the people are going to take responsibility that this threat is there. We must adopt new habits. We have to live in this world, no matter it can last for 6 months, 1 year. Because Spanish flu that came in 1918, it lasts for 2 years. So we have to understand that when the world is surrounded by such kind of a pandemic, we have to change our living style, our routines, our daily exchange of physical interactions. So we have to change all our living style. Once all individuals are going to take up the responsibility, this is how we can what we call mitigate, reduce the risk of getting infected. These are not all governments who are going to deal with this situation, because this is biggest catastrophe in the human history. Once all people are infected, you do not have ventilators in the hospitals. You do not have such infrastructure to accommodate a huge number of people. So government is not going to if you are going to rely on government, and the developed countries government have not done enough, because this is a worst situation. So what can be done is the people themselves, they must take up the responsibility. They must adopt with the new situation. They must adopt new habits, so that we can stop the spread of this virus.
Okay, fine. So, really good talk with you, Mr. Gul, that you shared your exposure about this coronavirus. So, if you have any kind of suggestions to give to our audience, because uh, because of this coronavirus, everyone is getting tense day by day, because we are facing some kind of issues. Number of coronavirus patients are increasing day by day, and we are having that kind of news that lockdown is going to be increased within few days, and again we will have to face this lockdown in future as well. So everybody is intense. So what do you suggest to audience, that what should they do?
Yes. uh, Mentally we need to be ready that lockdowns are going to be there, and these lockdowns are in favor of us. And if the government is going to lift the lockdowns, this is going to be a dangerous move, for everyone, the government and the people. But what can be done is that, I again repeat, that our mindset, we have to adopt with the situation. I still remember in Pakistan in 2008, we had energy crisis. Means there was no electricity, literally no electricity in Pakistan. We used to have 20 hours load shedding, and it was a new thing for us. But you see, we adopted that situation. Now, if there is a load shedding, we are not what we call peculiar to that. It's nothing new to us. So we have adopted that situation. What I want to say is that if it is going to be for 6 months, 3 months, whatever, but people need to adopt with the situation. They need to change their mental approach towards this pandemic. This is not going to go away. If it is going to go away, then things are not going to be normal as they were. If the lockdowns are lifted, they may be selectively lifted. Maybe from particular cities, those lockdowns may be lifted. But once we are out, we are not going to live the life as we were living in January or December. So we have to understand this is a new situation, this is a new world that we are facing an unseen enemy. When you are facing unseen enemy, you have to adopt different strategies to tackle it. So change your habits, immunize yourself, means stay healthy. You must work on your health. The more you are immunized, the more you are capable to deal with this kind of virus. Your health is very important. So take good care of your health, eat healthy food, and not to panic. You have to understand not to panic. This is a crisis thing. This can be solved with clear perseverance. You have to control yourself. This is how we have to do it. For example, we are having a month of Ramadan ahead. Consider that month of Ramadan has started earlier. We have to control our movement. We have to control all those actions, those misdeeds, which can lead to such kind of infections. So we need to, at least for 2 to 3 months, mentally be ready that our habits has to be changed. And more importantly, financially, we must manage, every individual, every family must manage the finances, because this is a different situation. You have to adopt this situation. Otherwise, if you are going to go out, you are going to get infected. Remember that if one person is infected, it is going to infect more 5 people. You see what have been the trends. On 26th February, we got our first infected person. But after 28 days, we had the 1000. But what happened after 10 days, we had 2000. But what happened after 7 days, we had 3000. But after 3 days, we have crossed the 4000 digits. So this is geometrically increasing, what we call exponential. So this virus is exponentially increasing. Once it is exponentially increasing, we have to adopt that. Every single person is going to be moved like atom bomb once this person is infected. So if you are going to take care of yourself, you are going to save lives of others. So every person is important. We must realize that. So this can be done when we are restricted at house. We are going to change our living style, our eating habits, our day-to-day dealings in the life. Once we have done that, we are out of this menace.
Okay, and Mr. Gul, what are your suggestions about educational in educational scenario? What are your suggestions?
Yes, educationally, of course, not only students, but the government itself is worried. Examination policies would be changed. Entrance exams would be changed. You may not be seeing what we call a subjective kind of examination from the boards. This can also be changed. It can be turned into a kind of an entrance test we used to have for different universities. This can be also done. Government itself is worried about that, how to manage that timing that has been lapsed. So government is doing that. About students, this is the pure time. Newton was a famous scientist. He was a physicist. He was a physicist during the Great Plague in 16th and 17th century. He was there. So what happened to him? He just went away from the population. As we are locked down, isolated, he did the same. So this was the pure time when he gave the concept of gravity. He gave to investigate, to explore new ideas, new studies. So this isolation can be turned into a blessing in disguise, or this challenge can be turned into opportunity if you are going to utilize time positively by sitting at home, not only using the cell phones all the day, but if those cell phones, that technology is used for online courses, online classes, or whatever new things are coming. So world is working on that. So it is especially advisable for students that they must use this time positively. This is a challenge, but this challenge must be turned into opportunity. This menace can become a chance for us for self improvement. We can do a lot of things by sitting at home, because there are no other activities outside. We are left with only option, that is to sit at home. And by sitting at home, if you engage into studies, deep studies, going for different online courses, online classes. I think this is the best you can have in this worst case timings.
Okay, dear. So that's really good talk with you, Mr. Gul, and we are not having any kind of question from our viewers. So if you want to say anything about more about this
I
topic,
see. I think this is a defining moment in the history. History is rewriting itself. We have to listen to the nature. We have to listen to our world, our planet Earth, Mother Nature. Now it's time to listen to the cries of that. These are the cries. We have to go back to our basics, and basics were that natural life. We need to go for the natural life. This is where it is the real life. This is not all about survival of the fittest. It is all about adopting our natural habitat. It is all about adopting our natural habits. So it is important that sooner we are going to adopt the nature, it is going to be the best thing, because we have been very much absorbed in the artificial world. Now, this artificial world has given us this scenario from which we are not getting out very easily. So, I think we must go back to the basics. That is our natural life. Natural life is the real life. So, all human beings, we must go for natural world where we can grow easily and mutually healthy.
okay, that's really good. So, Mr. Gul, if you have any kind of, because we are going to our finish the session, so if you have any kind of a message for our audience, so please, you are welcome to give your message.
Yes, my message, of course, is to remain positive, do not panic, understand the realities of the situation, and students, they must not waste their time. They must engage themselves into positive activities. They can be very much innovative and creative in this time, because technology is our best friend nowadays. If you are going to adopt technology at the earliest, this is the right thing you are going to do, and this is the way forward. Do not be pessimist. I want you to be the optimist. This is a defining moment, and let the coming generation know that we were the best people in the worst time who came out of it. So be the best in the worst time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gul, and I would like to thank you on behalf of ITD Pakistan that you gave your precious time to us and you shared your